From the Batman Who Laughs in DC Comics' Dark Multiverse, to Lord Draken in the Power Rangers and beyond, we've seen heroes reimagined as vile monsters, and villains stepping up in inverted worlds. The Transformers multiverse is no exception. Today, we'll dive into a world where Optimus Prime is a tyrant ruling over the evil Autobots, Megatron leads a valiant rebel Decepticon faction, and the heroic Knights of Unicron challenge the God of Order Primus. Prepare to explore a universe that's more than meets the eye. This is the dark side of Transformers, the Shatterglass Saga. First fully introduced in 2008 at the Transformers official convention BotCon, and inspired by the Star Trek Mirror Universe. Shatterglass began as a convention-exclusive toy line, including repaints of fan-favorite characters and a comic book published by Fun Publications. Over the next 15 years, the subline would see itself expanded with more convention exclusives, various Takara Tomy and Hasbro Generations releases, including a subline focused around the IDW series, and a slew of figures repurposed to fit the fiction. These action figures would soon introduce convention-goers to this twisted world, and the lore would soon breathe life into it, while BotCon would fully introduce the Transformers Shatterglass universe. An April Fool's Day joke a few weeks prior would tease it. In this initial 3-page preview, we find a terrifyingly brilliant Grimlock working alongside Jazz and Goldbug hunting pretender tech that could defeat the rebel Decepticons until they're met by Starscream and Razorclaw. This standoff results in a vicious attack by Grimlock, only be stopped by the quick intervention of Colonel Deathsaurus, Thundercracker, Laserbeak, and the rest of the Mayhem Suppression Squad. After the debut of these Shattered Expectations characters, the real and much grittier Shatterglass universe would begin with Transformers Timelines Issue 3, following the crossover arc, which would see Skyfall, Landquake, and Breakaway sent to the Axiom Nexus. In Transtech Inhabited Universe, the last member of their party, Cliffjumper, would be separated and dropped into the mirror world. Upon waking up, Cliffjumper is found and quickly discovers the Autobots are much more violent, as a now mustachioed Rodimus obliterates the Decepticon ruckus. Corpses are strewn through Autobot HQ as macabre decoration, and the former Bumblebee, Goldbug, mimics the Generation 1 Quintessons, holding mock trials and smelting those deemed guilty. While the Autobots are despicable, they pale in comparison to their leader, the tyrannical Optimus Prime. This universe's Optimus is not Orion Pax, but a librarian named Optronics, who becomes obsessed with understanding the meaning of life, and ultimately realizes there is none outside of leaving a legacy. While our main universe Optimus would achieve this by striving towards a better Cybertron and universe, Optronics decides to cheat and lie his way into the history books, ruling over Cybertronians with an iron fist and an Autobot battalion, destroying any ally or foe who gets in his way. Like most despots, Prime is surrounded by untrustworthy yes-men plotting his demise, with few as devious as his brother, Ultra Magnus. Like almost all Shatterverse inhabitants, Ultra Magnus is significantly different from his other iterations. In this world, he's the brother of Optimus Prime, and would lead a coup against the Autobot leader. While it would fail and he would be horrendously disfigured, his story wouldn't end here. Instead, he would become a much larger threat to the multiverse. Standing opposite Optimus, Ultra Magnus, and Rodimus are the heroic Decepticons and their leader, Megatron, a Cybertronian mathematician who would be responsible for inventing transformation technology as a means to even the playing field, and who would be willing to risk his own ember, the Shatterglass version of a spark, for his team of rebels. This faction, including a now competent and trustworthy Starscream, would fight for freedom, adopting the philosophy that it's the right of all sentient beings. The first encounter we see of these factions would occur during a battle to stop the Autobots from launching the Ark and spreading their conquest outside Cybertron, with a plan in motion proposed by Megatron's loyal second-in-command Starscream. The Decepticons and a universe-displaced Cliffjumper set their sights on the launch platform, while the Decepticons would use a modified version of Cliffjumper's glass gas weapon. He would still question his loyalties until he's saved by Megatron following an attack by Optimus. This act of bravery would lead Cliffjumper to join the Decepticons and delay the Autobot launch. Following the Battle of the Ark, Pro stories would be released to focus on different aspects of the universe. In Dungeons and Dinobots, Wheeljack would introduce his latest creation, while Cliffjumper and Sideswipe would cross paths with Blur and Rodimus as they hunt down Grimlock, only to see him granted genius-level intellect and an ember by this universe's Vector Sigma, the Omega Terminus. While Grimlock would lead the Dinobots to be granted their own embers, the follow-up Do-Over switches focus to Prime and the Autobots' relaunch of the Ark to invade Earth, but the Decepticons have their own plans with their ship, the Nemesis. While Megatron would be led into a trap at the Temple of Knowledge. This plan would backfire on Prime, as his own team led by Rodimus would leave him stranded, launching the Ark without him, leaving both factions' leaders stranded on Cybertron, while both sides travel to Earth to either save or destroy it. From here, we learn that Earth is much different from the one in the main universe. These changes include longtime villain Dr. Arkeville becoming an inventor, working alongside the Decepticons instead of being a mad scientist. The Witwickies are a family of criminals working with the Autobots. World War III has erupted and has since ceased, and so much more in the next prose chapter, Eye in the Sky. Here, we also see infighting between Goldbug and Rodimus. Leading the latter now is Rodimus Prime to overpower an Air Force base, taking control of a global orbiting defense satellite, destroying the Statue of Liberty, and holding the world hostage until his demands are met. met. While Rodimus would lose control of the satellite and suffer defeat, Goldbug would take matters into his own hands, setting his sights on returning to Cybertron via an experimental stellar spanner. Like most plans in this universe, Goldbug's would go awry, aiding Rodimus in returning Alpha Trion, his old ally, back to Cybertron for revenge. Between the events of the final 4 prose chapters, Eye in the Sky, Blitzkrieg Bop, Transhuman, and Coalescence, the Reunification event would take place. That would see Alpha Trion landing in the Shatterglass universe with the ultimate goal of conquering Cybertron, and getting revenge on Optimus Prime after being cast out of his homeworld. To achieve this, he'll need the help of various Cybertronians, including the now deceased Skyfall, Landquake, Breakaway, Topspin, and recently stellar spannered Heatwave. While running from Alpha Trion, 3 of the 5 would meet with the Quintesson Aquarius, a hippie in this world, who would warn them of Optimus Prime's latest project, a weapon of mass destruction named Omega Doom that only they could stop. This revelation would lead to a meeting with the heroic Decepticons and Heatwave that would end in the assassination of Megatron orchestrated by Alpha Trion. But much like the Generation 1 continuity, this would not be the end for Megatron. Instead, he would be reformatted as Galvatron, and join the newly created Nexus Prime to defeat Omega Doom and stop Prime's onslaught. From here, the lore of this world would continue to grow with the next big event, Invasion. This would mark the return of Optimus Prime's brother, Ultra Magnus, with the Terminus blade in tow, traveling to the classic Marvel Comics universe and destroying the universe's safer Earth, which he brought to the Shatteredverse. In this world, we'd see various other story arcs take place, including Beast Wars Shatterglass and the ensuing hunt for the Origin Matrix, spatio-temporal challengers, and the story of the GoBots in the Shatterglass universe, and Another Light, which reimagines the events of Transformers the movie from 1986 in the Shatterglass world, as the classic universe and Shatterglass heroes would need to face off with this universe destroying Ultra Magnus. These events led to Shatterglass Optimus Prime being reformatted as Nova Prime, alongside the other heroic Knights of Unicron. These Knights and Nova Prime are shortly tested after the creation, as Shatterglass Primus makes his presence known and is forced to battle with Gaia, the sibling of Unicron and Primus. After the battle has ended, Prime, Megatron, Gaia, and the Decepticons are victorious and ready to start working alongside the Autobots on new Cybertron for a better tomorrow. While a bulk of the lore for the Shatterglass universe would be released by Fun Publications, IDW would introduce its own version of the universe in a 2021 series, Transformers Shatterglass, and a Volume 2 released in 2022. Across these 2 volumes, we move away from the Great War between the Autobots and Decepticon faction, and instead focus on Starscream after the war and his plans to use his indestructible spark to wake the Titan Metroplex and return Cybertron to its glory. While exploring IDW's version of the Shatterverse before and during the Great War, we'd also see the evolution of fan-favorite characters, like the friendship between Jetfire and Starscream until a subsequent betrayal, the depravity exhibited by Ratchet and his mad science, Megatron's disgust at his own failures as the Decepticon leader, and Bumblebee's transformation into the even more ruthless Goldbug as he also attempts to resurrect Titan. With the license for Transformers comics moving to Skybound Entertainment and the brand new Energon universe in October of 2023, the Shatterglass universe ends here, with war brewing but the Decepticons in an excellent position to defend Cybertron. While the Shatterglass universe is relatively young compared to the rest of the Transformers franchise, it's become a fan favorite across the multiverse, although the world would have been visited in the 4th season of the cancelled Transformers animated series, and there was a proposal for a Transformers Prime Shatterglass toy line. Its inclusion in the main Transformers universe has been minimal. Hopefully we'll see more of this twisted world in the future. If you're hungry for more Shattered Glass, there's so much more to dive into, like backstories for your favorite Autobots and Decepticons, a dedicated comic strip called Recordicons following Ravage and the mini-cassettes, the news-based comic strip around Cybertron, and more. If you want to check these out, head to the TF Wiki Community WordPress, which has scans of the Fun Publications releases available under their out-of-print media archive, and grab the trade paperback collections of both Shatterglass and Shatterglass 2 from your favorite bookstore. If you enjoyed this and want more Transformers content, please like, subscribe, and check out our series Who Is and What Is on YouTube Shorts. If there's a topic you want to see covered or a character covered under Who Is, make sure to drop a comment below and let me know for future videos. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay handsome.